Welcome to Eye on the Bay. I'm Brian Hackney, and tonight, when you see the MG, you know it's time for a point A to B, where we pick two totally random towns in the Bay Area and travel between them and kind of have little adventures on the way. Only this time, we're going to give the MG a rest, because this point A to B requires us to stay afloat. So, instead, we'll be going on that. In these buckets are nautical points of interest everywhere from San Isaiah to the Napa River. They're going to stay inside the Golden Gate, but along the way, they've got beautiful places, things you have never seen or heard about before, and we're going to pick them now, starting with point A. We'll start at Alameda. That's point A. Point B, Winehaven. Where is Winehaven? I had no idea, but one of our producers did. It was a bayside village killed by prohibition. These days you can only see it from the water. And the man who can get us there... Permission to come aboard?
Welcome aboard, Brian.
Brian Hackney. This is Pat Mirabelli, by the way. Thanks for letting us use the yacht. How many stories is this?
Well, it's basically 2 levels.
Wow, this is beautiful.
Here's the helm, and then down below is the salon.
And this is where you spend your time up in the helm. How big is this boat?
This is a 46-foot boat. It's about 48 overall, but...
At what point does a boat become a yacht?
At about 36 is what's considered a yacht.
Well, we ready to shove off?
You bet.
We're going to start here. We're going to go down the Oakland estuary to Coast Guard Island, have a look at that, come out the estuary, and then head across the bay and hit McCovey Cove and see AT&T Park from the water. And then from there, we're going to go right here through Mission Creek. We'll come out the creek, see the Bay Bridge, circle Treasure Island, Yerba Buena Island, continue to head north up to Point Richmond, go into the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge, and ultimately land here at Point B, Point Malati, and Winehaven. And now, we magically appear in Alameda, point A. Alameda Island is home to one of the Bay Area's oldest cities. Incorporated in 1854, Alameda was a peninsula until 1901, when the Oakland estuary was connected to San Leandro Bay. And where are we headed toward now?
We're going to head down to Coast Guard Island.
And there's 880 plugging along. This is a much nicer way to go.
And we're going about the same speed, it looks like.
How fast can this go?
This goes about 28 miles an hour, or about 26 knots. I think it's time that you start driving.
Do you not need a license to drive a boat?
No, you have to be 16 years old, and I think that you're going to scrape by there. You're going to be fine.
This is kind of cool. There's nothing to it.
We're coming up on the Coast Guard Island here. It begins right here.
Yeah.
And goes down about a mile or so.
That's the Hornet?
That's the, yes, USS Hornet.
It was the Hornet that plucked the capsule that went to the moon, Apollo 11, out of the ocean and onto its deck. This is really cool. This is part of the things that you can see when you actually do a point A to B from the water. Leaving Alameda, we cruise by Oakland, the Pacific Coast's 3rd largest container port. These huge cranes load and unload the international container ships, moving over $33 billion in trade every year. Where are we going to head next?
Now we're heading over to McCovey Cove.
And we're in for a surprise. We'll visit something you can usually only see from the side of the road. This must be the most seen 1 acre of water in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Probably so, yeah.
You know, because every baseball broadcast shows that particular part of McCovey Cove. We need to go up Mission Creek just a little further to visit the last of a houseboat community that's sheltered there. Now, our challenge is going to be to get through the 3rd Street Bridge, the Lefty O'Doul Bridge, right? You ever done that before?
No, never been through here.
What do you think?
You know, I don't know. Hi, this is Pat. I'm in the Meridian out here, the 45-foot Meridian, and I was wondering if you could open the bridge for us, please.
Is this a relatively tight squeeze for you?
With the wind, yeah.
Oh, there's the bridge tender. Boy, the next one's a tiny little opening, though.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No problem.
You hear the sirens in the background because now we've got to raise the 4th Street Bridge in order to get through. And there it goes. All right, now that we're through 4th Street, onto the houseboats. There used to be dozens of those houseboats lining Mission Creek, but one by one they disappear, replaced by, as usual, condos. Nice view, nice location, 2 bedrooms, $800,000. Got that in your back pocket? We've seen all those beautiful houseboats in Sausalito, but here are the remnants of a floating community once home to early hard hat divers and merchant mariners. 30 houseboats remain where there once were 50. Kevin, is that you?
It is indeed. Mr.
Kevin
Hackney.
O'Connell, harbor master, right?
That's correct.
What's it like to live on a floating home?
Well, I guess the first thing you have to appreciate is that you're much more in touch and much more aware of the weather. When it blows up on Potrero Hill, people sitting in their snug living rooms watching through their picture windows go, oh my gosh, it's windy. Down here, you're moving around pretty good. I started out with a little dinky 16-foot barge, a little houseboat that was given to me. It was a gift, the nicest gift I've ever had. It's sort of like a village, a little village that people, once you're here, it's kind of, you don't want to really go someplace else.
Pray for good weather. We're heading across toward the Bay Bridge now.
Yeah.
As we head north, we'll make a quick stop at what was once the most expensive structure in the world, right here in the middle of San Francisco Bay. Welcome back to Eye on the Bay's Point A to B on the water. We're leaving the houseboats of Mission Creek in our wake, and now our yacht is heading for what was once the world's largest winery. But first, we have to pass by Yerba Buena Island and under the Bay Bridge. In 1933, a tunnel was bored through the center of Yerba Buena Island, connecting the western and eastern spans of the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge. Once known as Seabird Island and then Goat Island, there's been a military post here since the Civil War. The lighthouse and the quarters date back to 1873. When that bridge was built, it was the single most expensive structure in the history of mankind, at $78 million. That center anchorage, Pier W4, was the deepest foundation in the world. There's more concrete in that than in the Empire State Building. Another measure of its size, in 1933, 18% of all of the steel made in the United States went into that single bridge. Boy, look at how beautiful that is. We've got a windy day, but the great thing about a windy day is that it has just cleared all of the haze out, and the city of San Francisco is just standing out like Oz. And on a day when a lot of people are sitting there on the truss section of the Oakland Bay Bridge, in traffic, we are just heading north, beautiful day on the bay. And what we're doing now is heading to Point Richmond, and a lot of people are over there on 80 in Emeryville. We're doing it by water. As we continue from Point A to B, the next stop is Point Richmond. That's up that way. What are we approaching now?
We're just coming into Richmond, the Richmond harbors, the 2 Richmond marinas.
Okay, and this used to be famous for shipbuilding. Some of the ships from World War II were built right here. It was famous for that.
Victory ships were built. They built, I believe, about 700 or 800 ships.
Right here. And are there any of those Victory ships left?
There is. In fact, right up ahead, there's the USS Red Oak. It's a Victory ship. It's the last one. It's a museum. They built one of these in 4 days, a little over 4 days. Isn't that something?
Where are we coming into?
We're coming into Marina Bay in Richmond.
Boy, this is a nice looking neighborhood. But this is a part of Richmond I guess people don't think about, is this stuff that's right on the shore.
You never see it.
No. But boy, what a view they must have. This was the heart of shipbuilding in World War II. Today, the Richmond Marina is home to rows of sailboats, only minutes from Point Richmond. We're going to dock and try our land legs to tour this historic town next on Eye on the Bay. Welcome back to Eye on the Bay. I'm Brian Hackney as we continue our program on Point A to B by water. And if you want any information about what you've seen during the course of the show, log on to our website, cbs5.com/Eye on the Bay. In the meantime, we've got to make landing right here in Richmond. Hello, Scotty. Oh, it's beautiful. All right, dry land. Our first stop in Richmond is going to be the natatorium. And I know what you're thinking. What's a natatorium? Let's find out. Point Richmond started as a railroad town back in 1897. The popular natatorium, nicknamed the Richmond Plunge, began as an oil well dig. But instead of oil, what they hit was water, a geyser of it. So they built a pool. The natatorium is currently being renovated, and it'll open again soon. And just down the street from the natatorium is one of the oldest landmarks in Richmond, the Hotel Mac. It was originally opened in 1911, and Duncan Hines, sort of the Zagat guide of the day, called it one of the finest dining establishments in the entire country. Today, downtown Point Richmond boasts shops, stores, an old converted fire station, and even a tiny history museum. And finally, we are ready to hit our final point of the show, Winehaven at Point Melati. When we were filling our buckets with locations, one of our producers threw in Winehaven. I'd never heard of it, but when I learned about it, I couldn't wait to see it. Between 1908 and 1919, Winehaven was the world's largest winery. Don, where are we right now?
Welcome to Point Melati.
Yeah, this is Point Melati.
This is Point Melati.
And what is this? I have never seen it.
This is Winehaven. They built their own village.
Okay.
Including the Winehaven building itself, which is modeled after a Rhineland castle.
Wow.
300,000 square feet, crenellated parapets, all brick.
When did they stop using the winery?
Unfortunately, somebody passed that 18th Amendment in the beginning of 1920.
Oh,
Prohibition took effect. When Winehaven was in full bloom, they touted themselves as the largest winery in the world.
Shall we have a look?
Yes.
Good heavens. How big is this, Don?
Right at 300,000 square feet, where they would manufacture the wine. They would store the wine, putting it into the casks themselves, the barrels, putting it into the wine bottles, preparing it for shipping.
And the Navy takes over. What did the Navy do here?
This was the primary fueling depot for the entire Pacific Fleet from World War II.
Here at Point Melati?
Here in Point Melati, until it closed in 1994.
And now a relic of the 50s, the Cold War, we're going down to the bomb shelter. Wow, this is really like going through the catacombs. Pencil sharpener, old tables, old bottles of Purex. God, what did they do down here? Oh my God, there's an old radio. Look at that old Magnavox. Magnavox was an Oakland company. You know what this is? It's a nice little. It's like it's been frozen in time from the Cold War era. And I noticed that you've got. Well, you still have residents here. Look at all the swallows up here. Now, this is just one part of a much larger village, right?
Yes, when Winehaven was here and when the Navy was here, this was a self-contained village.
This is unbelievably stunning. I mean, what a view. How many acres like this are there?
Well, it's 412 acres.
Oh my God. Now, can you imagine waking up to that out your window? The bay, Mount Tam, Richmond San Rafael Bridge. Rank has its privileges. Until Prohibition closed it, Winehaven bottled 12 million gallons a year. As for the future, whether it'll be open to the public or converted to another use remains to be seen. For now, the only way to see Winehaven is from the water. And that's a wrap on our point A to B over water, and we're really indebted to this man for getting us back alive quite easily. Pat Marabelli, thank you so much. Olympic Boat Centers here at Jack London Square. You want to buy a yacht? See Pat. And log on to our website, cbs5.com/Eye on the Bay, if you want more information about what you've seen during the show. In the meantime, ahoy. Promotional consideration by Meridian Yachts and Olympic Boat Center.